Welcome back to another video, and today we are going to go ahead and do the Premier League predictions for this season. And we are honestly going to kick things off with showing you the team that is going to automatically be bottom of the table, Luton Town. They have absolutely no chance in this Premier League season at all. They will go straight back down to the Championship. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if I see them go straight down to League One and go back-to-back relegations. They have met their max. They will not be good. They will be in a bit of a manager rotation battle here this season. Honestly, I think so. Next up, relegation-wise, we are going to go ahead and go with Nottingham Forest to finish 19th or 18th. Not quite sure yet. They did just bring in Matt Turner, but that's about the marquee signing that they've really brought in this season. Nobody really that's going to boost them up to another level. I feel like they have survived last season barely. They will go back down. Obviously, Keylor Navas was a big part of why they actually survived last season. They will go down, and I don't see their manager staying for the whole season. Maybe they do love his. They do love him for some reason. The wrapping up relegation, we are gonna go with Bournemouth. Bournemouth, they kind of are teetering out a little bit. They are looking to likely lose their manager. He's looking like to go to Wolves. After Wolves signed Lopetegui, or fired Lopetegui, I should say, I don't see Bournemouth staying up this season. Fighting a relegation in 13th and 16th, I have Everton and I have West Ham. West Ham losing Declan Rice, a big part of why they were so successful last season. In fact, they were in the relegation part for majority of the season. David Moyes is only a manager out of sympathy. He will be sacked surely before December. They are looking to lose Lucas Paqueta to Manchester City as well, if that transfer could go ahead and go through. Everton, Sean Dyche might do enough to keep him up at least for another season, and then they're going to have to rebuild properly to even try and extend that run and extend their stay inside the Premier League. There's something about them. They just won't get relegated at all. In 14th, we are going with Sheffield United. They're losing Sander Berg, so they are not going to be as good defensively and kind of compact in that midfield. They are going to look a little bit shaky for sure. They obviously do have some Premier League experience. They finished 9th when they first got back in the Premier League a couple years ago, and then the second season they finished rock bottom. I can almost see that happening again. Maybe not finishing as high as 9th, but finishing a decent here in this season and getting relegated next season as well. That could be a little bit of a yo-yo effect for Sheffield United. Next up in 14th, we are going for Wolves. Wolves losing Ruben Neves, sacking Lopetegui, who's not honestly an awful manager. I haven't seen any market around them, but signing a new replacement for Ruben Neves. They obviously have Mateus Nunes, who is a decent midfielder. I don't know if that's going to be good enough for them to be able to fight that high, but I do have them finishing in 14th. Next up in 13th, we are going with Burnley. Burnley. It's always bloody Burnley. I do think they will finish in 13th. I think they'll be good enough. They'll be the best side out of these three teams that have gone up to the Premier League to stay in the Premier League, and they will be the best with Vincent Kompany and with the squad that they are building and still building. They are yet to come. Obviously, now having a new co-owner is Dude Perfect for whatever reason. That's an outrageous thing to even think about, that Dude Perfect co-owner football team. But there it is. Crystal Palace in 12th. I don't see them having a awful season, but I kind of see them being completely average again. I feel like they might go through a manager or two like they did last season, sacking Vieira towards the latter end of the season, like like March or April, somewhere around there. I could see that happening. Finishing in 11th would be Fulham. They will sit mid-table-ish solidly. They haven't really made too many improvements. They haven't really downgraded too much. They are going to look to lose Mitrovic to Saudi Arabia if that deal goes through. If it hasn't gone through already, I don't think I've seen it gone through. I don't see them signing a replacement for him. I don't see really going anywhere with them. Bernd Leno as goalkeeper. He'll have another season or two left in him where he's a decent goalkeeper. Still making silly errors, but it is what it is. Finishing in 10th, we'll have Brentford just sitting middle of the pack. There's nothing more to say. Brentford's always there. They will always be the one team to kind of annoy the top 6 clubs. They annoyed Man City. They annoyed Man City. They annoyed Arsenal. They annoyed Liverpool for sure. They annoyed Chelsea, but Chelsea was easily annoyed. They were absolutely horrific last season. Other than that, I think we could see Tottenham finishing in No, not Tottenham yet. I mean, Tottenham will be up there. We can see Brighton finishing in ninth. I think with Zagri, he's building a fantastic squad. He's building their system, bringing in these youth players, then selling them off, yada, yada, yada. Building up youth players, he will be fantastic for him. I think they will lose Moise Caicedo, though. That will be a big factor. They apparently already signed his replacement, who looks to be somewhat decent. I haven't seen any footage about him yet, but we'll see what happens with him. Finishing in 8th is going to be Tottenham. I expect Tottenham to lose Harry Kane. Harry Kane doesn't want to leave the Premier League after the season starts, so they really only have a couple days left to go. If Bayern want him, the last offer got rejected, and Bayern said that was going to be the last offer. But for some reason, I still feel a way that Harry Kane leaves this Tottenham side. I don't think that manager stays that whole entire season. He's just not a good manager coming from Celtic. He's not going to last long here in the Premier League. Next up in Austin, in Austin Villa, in the Conference League, we'll have Aston Villa. I think they are a dark horse. I think they could even be higher and fight for Europa League, and maybe I wouldn't put them in Champions League quite yet. But Unai Emery is building a fantastic squad. I think they're in the Europa League this season, maybe Europa League, maybe Conference League. They're in Europe this season for sure. Leon Bailey, Chukwueze, they just have a fantastic squad, and Unai Emery, he's on his revenge tour in the Premier League after his somewhat failed of a stint from Arsenal. Maybe we didn't give him enough time here at Arsenal. Save them from possible relegation as well, finishing in a European spot. In 6th, we are going with Newcastle. I think Newcastle have a fantastic squad. They have brought in fantastic additions, bringing in Harvey Barnes. They did lose St. Maximum. They have a great squad. They have a great manager in Eddie Howe. However, I think European competitions, Champions League, will get the better of them in their squad depth. The squad depth isn't the most insane squad depth. They do have a lot of players in squad depth, but maybe the quality isn't quite there. I don't see them being as good as they were last season. Somebody who I see a lot better than last season than what they were, a lot better this season than what they were last season, is Chelsea. I think they will miss out on Champions League, but like I said, the top 5 maybe are going to be the hardest ones that could all be in the title race come the end of April, to be honest. Chelsea are going to be up there. Mudryk, he's going to look to have a kind of revenge season after coming in last season and absolutely being horrific for Chelsea. I mean, everybody for Chelsea was horrific, but Mudryk was insanely bad. No goals. He had, 2 assists, I think, maybe, if that. I think with Pochettino, I think he'll be able to get something out of this Chelsea squad. I think they will finish 5th. I think they will just miss out on Champions League. And getting into Champions League, we are going to go with Liverpool in 4th. Liverpool didn't have the season that they usually have last season, finishing bottom, not really bottom half of the table, but finishing their worst finish in the last 5-6 years of this club. It's absolutely insane what we've seen. They managed to only finish 5th. They did have a kind of decent run towards the end of the season that actually elevated them into that 5th position, just missing out on Champions League. I think they will get Champions League this season. I don't think they're quite ready for a Premier League title race, although me saying top 5 are going to be in a Premier League title race for a majority of the season. I don't think they have enough in them to get the job done. And somebody else who doesn't have enough in them is going to go ahead and be Manchester United. I see them finishing 3rd, with Man City and Arsenal obviously being the locks for top 2. I think that was seen from across the board. But some people don't think Arsenal is going to finish in top 5, which is just insanely just brain dead out of them. Man United, I think Ten Hag building something decent there at the club. Maybe not something crazy, because obviously Rashford, he's not the best. Onana, he got chipped from half field on a preseason game, which doesn't really mean that much, but they made fun of us for Ramsdale doing it. Have that. They are losing Harry Maguire, so that's a good thing. Harry Maguire is looking to actually go over to... Where's Harry Maguire going over to? He's going over somewhere. I think West Ham, actually. I think West Ham are getting Harry Maguire, if I'm not mistaken, which is just kind of insane. Man United finishing in 3rd. Finishing in 2nd is going to be your treble winners, Manchester City. Now, this might be a little bit of biases here in me being an Arsenal fan and thinking Arsenal will finish as champions, finishing in 1st. Man City, they obviously have the squad depth. They are looking to add a Lucas Paqueta to that from West Ham, which would be absolutely insane. Kyle Walker got convinced to stay. He's looking to sign a new contract. Bernardo Silva, he's edging towards signing a new contract as well with Manchester City. I just think Arsenal will finally not bottle it. They have the experience in them finally this season. And as long as we don't get injuries from Saliba and Tomiyasu in one game in the first 20 minutes against Sporting in the Europa League, we would have won the Premier League this season for sure. I think we will finally get a league win over Manchester City, at least at home at the Emirates. The Emirates, I don't see us losing many games, if any. I mean, we will lose some games, but I don't see us losing more than 3 or 4 games. Actually, not even that, 2 or 3 games at home from Arsenal's side. I think Declan Rice, Jurgen Timber, Havertz. I think Havertz would finally at least be half the player he was from Leverkusen and 3 times the player he was then at Chelsea. I think those additions, Saliba being the best defender in the league, Ramsdale with Raya's competition now, Raya looking to come into the squad. I'm not looking to come in. He is going to be part of the squad for sure. Those 2 goalkeeper battles are just going to elevate each other for each other and make them better as a player and as a goalkeeper fighting for that #1 spot. Arsenal are going to be your Premier League champions. If you did enjoy this video, go ahead and leave a like, subscribe, and peace.